Okay. Well, hello. My name is Anthony Smith, Pastry Chef of the Year 2012, winner of the U.S. Pastry competition. Presently the Executive Pastry Chef at the Cosmopolitan Club on the Upper East Side of New York in Manhattan. I also teach confectionery arts, baking, and pastry at the New York City College of Technology. I'm here today to talk to you guys about some products that's available at Caracas, how to care for them, and some uses for them. To start, we have a tempering machine over here that's perfect for home use. It's not too big and it's not too small. Easy to use. The buttons on here is nice, it's clear, it's large. Comes with a really nice instruction manual. It also comes with some dipping tools, and it also comes with instructions on how to care for the product. This is really good if you don't know how to temper chocolate so much, because it takes a lot of the science out of it. You don't have to necessarily know a lot about tempering chocolate to use it. You just put your chocolate in, you plug it in, and the machine basically does all the work for you. It's really, really simple to use. Not too big, not too small, so it's easy to pack away the box. It looks like this. Like I said, it's available here at Caracas. Next up, we have tools mainly used for chocolate. As far as care for the product, as I mentioned, the manual clearly states how to go about caring for the product, but it's really easy to use. You basically don't want to get water in any of the parts that are shielded, so you don't want any water to get into this part or this part. If you take a nice wet rag and just wipe it down after use, that's perfect. You don't have to worry about sending it through the dishwasher or anything like that. A nice simple rag would be perfect. Easy care. Next up, we have a lot of products used in chocolate making for chocolate. We have molds. These are polycarbonated molds in a lot of different shapes, a lot of different sizes, used for a lot of different things. These can easily be cared for. Once again, you want to be a little careful with them, because you don't want to scrub them with anything abrasive, because they're easily scratched. You want to keep them nice and neat and shiny. And to do that, the more you use it, the less you want to wash it, believe it or not. Because what happens is you put chocolate in it and you use it, you pop the chocolates out, it's left with a nice even film of cocoa butter in it, and that provides shine. So the next time you want to use it, you want to take some cotton or a nice soft cloth and just clean your mold. Scrape the sides, make sure there's no chocolate on it, and you want to wrap it up for the next time you use it. If it's going to be some time before you use it again, then you want to wash it, at which time you want to use no detergent. Make sure the water is hot. If you decide that you are going to use a detergent, make sure there's nothing harsh in there to harm the mold itself. But if you're able to use just nice hot water, then just want it in hot water, clean it, dry it out nicely, wrap it up, and store it. Some other things they use here, we have transfer sheets. Many different types, many different designs on these transfer sheets that's available. You use these again for chocolate use. Here we've made some things, decorations for your pastries, your cakes, with chocolate using a transfer sheet. You spread your tempered chocolate onto the transfer sheet, you cut out your different designs, you make your different designs with it. This particular design was done with this pastry comb right here. You set your product in the refrigerator, you unmold it, you come up with these really nice, cool things. Your transfer sheets is made out of a material, the plastic material is called acetate, and the actual ink that's on it is actually cocoa butter. So everything on here is natural. Don't think that it's chemical and it will affect you. It's just colored cocoa butter. Again, this was used by spreading tempered dark chocolate down onto the sheet of acetate, cutting it out, and just setting it in the refrigerator. Really nice, really easy to use. We also have acetate without cocoa butter on it, which is just clear, simple acetate. This is useful for actually taking cocoa butter and making your own transfer sheet, or you can use just a plain acetate and work with the chocolate on the acetate itself. Gives you the nice, shiny surface to work with. A lot of times when we make our own transfer sheet, you tend to use something like a brush, a pastry brush, once again sold here, and you liquefy your cocoa butter and you brush your design onto your acetate. In which case, once you brush it on, you use the same technique as you did with your pre-made acetate sheet, and the result will undoubtedly be the same. With the transfer, yes. If you do happen to make a scratch, any kind of mark on a sheet of acetate, the same on your polycarbonate mold, if you were to use something abrasive on this, like Brillo pad, anything harsh that would make a mark on here, it will transfer onto your chocolate, onto your final product. So you want to be really, really careful with these molds as well as with your acetate and how you handle it. If there's a dent in here, if there's a crack, if there's any kind of mark on here, it will transfer onto the chocolate once you have, once your product has been completed. I'll show. If you don't have a chocolate tempering machine, then you have to do it the old-fashioned way. It takes a little longer, but there's nothing wrong with that because it's tried, it's true. What you want to do is you want to work with a bowl, some container, to put your actual chocolate into, your chocolate pistols. Now you want to bring that chocolate, if you're working with dark chocolate, somewhere between 112 and 122 degrees Fahrenheit. You want to heat it up. The reason for that is chocolate is made up of a bunch of fats. What you want to do is melt those fats. You want to melt those fats to make sure that they all melt. You want to bring them up to between 112 and 122 degrees. Chocolate is made up of a number of fats. At 122, you're sure all these fats have melted. If you don't bring it up to that high temperature, some of the fats will be melted and some won't be melted. And it's easy to get tricked because at, let's say, 100 degrees, your chocolate will be melted, but all the fats have not broken down yet. So what happens is when your chocolate solidifies again, it's not gonna be the same. It's not gonna have the same texture. It's not gonna have the same mouthfeel as it did before when it was 100% tempered. So you wanna heat your chocolate up, 112 to 122 degrees. Then you want to bring it down. You want to bring it down to around 85 to 88 degrees, right? So you go from really hot to really cold, and you want to do this rather quickly. You do this by, a lot of times we do this by seeding. So you add some of your chocolate that's still in solid form back into your chocolate that's now melted. Bring that down to about 88, 85 degrees. Now you want to bring it to that working temperature. That temperature is a temperature at which you're sure your chocolate is now tempered, and it will give you the best results as far as snap when you break the chocolate, shine, and mouthfeel. And for a lot of dark chocolates, this is anywhere between 89 and about 92 degrees, depending on the brand of chocolate, right? A lot of times we use a microwave to do this heating up and down. Now, tempering chocolate is a little tricky. You want to be careful because simply because it's the right temperature, it's within the right working zone, that doesn't mean that it's tempered. Remember, the chocolate, the fats have to be dispersed, have to melt, and they have to be realigned at the right time, at the right temperature, using the right motion in order for it to be fully tempered. If not, you will be tricked and your chocolate will look like it's ready and that it's working, but it's really, really not, right? 3 things we have to remember: time, temperature, and movement. These are the 3 essential things to tempering chocolate. You need it at the right temperature. You need movement to stir it up to create good crystals in order for it to start tempering. And of course, time. We need time to do everything. So it has to have the right amount of time. You don't want to take too long. You don't want to do it too quickly because it won't be tempered, right? With white chocolate is a little more sensitive. White chocolate does not contain any cocoa mass, which is why it's white. White chocolate simply contains cocoa butter, and you have certain additives, flavors. That is lecithin, which helps with the structure and the longevity of the product. You have things like vanilla, you have things like milk powder, you have things like sugar. So because there's no cocoa mass, it isn't as strong, especially when you're building big structures. You don't want to use white chocolate because it's softer. You want to use a darker chocolate with a higher percentage in it. White chocolate is the most sensitive of all the chocolates because of the lack of cocoa mass that's in it. So in using it, you want to go through the same exact motions as you did for tempering dark chocolate, but you don't heat it up as high because it's a little more sensitive. So you want to heat up white chocolate to around 112. Don't let it pass 120, right? 112, 115, you want to heat it up. You want to bring it down to about 85 degrees once again, and you want to work with it somewhere between 89 and about 91. That's your ideal working temperature. But you go through the same motions. It's the same technique as in tempering dark chocolate. When we speak of milk chocolate, it's in between dark chocolate and white chocolate. It does have cocoa mass, but not as much as a dark chocolate. And of course, white chocolate has none. So in milk chocolate has a little cocoa mass, but not as much. You heat that up to somewhere between 115 and about 120 max. You bring that down to between 85 and 90, and then you heat it back up to work somewhere between 89 and 91 degrees. And that's your ideal working temperature for milk chocolate.
So we use a microwave and throw it in there, or everything has to be in there?
I'm sorry?
Start with the microwave and then put it in here?
Mm-hmm.
Or
only start here. In using this machine, you can go both ways because this machine does have a feature on it that allows you to melt the chocolate. So you can actually put your chocolate crystals in here and allow it to melt. And then once it's melted, you hit the tempering icon that's on here, and it will start stirring to give it that motion. And once it reaches the right temperature, it's gonna alert you that it has gotten to the right temperature. If you don't have the patience to wait until it's melted in here, then you can use your chocolate already melted. You can melt it in a microwave and then add that melted chocolate to this particular machine, and you use the tempering button on here and it will start tempering the chocolate for you.